Some people identify their talents at early age. Other talents may show later in our life. But what is a talent and how can we find our hidden talents? Do you have a unique talent that are a unique expression of you? Let's find out how to discover your inner genius.
We all have insecurities and fear. So the question is, how do you get over them? It's time to explore and identify what's holding you back from your greatest potential. On this podcast, your host, Iris Janet, shows you how to use NLP, meditation, and energy to move past your obstacles.
Embracing your inner genius. What are our genius zone? And are you embracing your inner genius? Irma Baumez said, "When I stand before God at the end of my life, I will hope that I will not have a single bit of talent left. And I could say I used everyone you gave me." Hello, my friends. This is Iris Janet. Welcome back to another episode of Firefly by Iris Janet. If you are new here or know someone who can be inspired by this message, please copy and share the link with them. You also can share the link on your social media and don't forget to tag me and let me know what you learn or what you enjoy about this message. A talent is an intellectual aptitude that we learn with ease, that is very easy for us to do. It's the ability to perform it with passion. For me, a talent is the ability to do something that I like to do and bring me satisfaction and joy. We all have talents, but not necessarily we're going to use them at all time. I remember when my fourth daughter, Juliana, born, she was premature. And when she got home, she was only 4 pounds. Yeah, 4 pounds. She born 1 pound 4 ounces. She was super small. And at that time, there was no store that carry any clothes that will fit her. She came home so little that there was no way that I can find any clothes to dress her. At that moment, I was using my sewing and designing talent. So I create Juliana's clothes. I create everything that she was wearing, from the Cabbage Patch dolls. I don't know if you remember those Cabbage Patch Kids dolls. And they were very tiny. So I bought their patterns and create her clothes. After so many years, right now, at this moment, I have to tell you, I will not enjoy sewing again. That's not something that is a talent I have. I can do it. I do it with ease, but I don't enjoy doing it anymore. I prefer to go and buy the clothes. I'm not going to spend hours designing a dress or anything like that because I don't enjoy doing that. So that is the difference with having a talent and finding something that is in your genius zone. It's something that you have passion of it, something that you can do it good, but also you enjoy doing it. And just a couple of months ago, I have discovered a new talent for writing. And even though that I think I'm not the best writer out there, because that's another thing. When you have a talent, you don't have to be an expert on it. You don't have to be the best of what you have a talent with, as long as you do it good. So I am learning the techniques now of writing, and I enjoy writing. I enjoy continue learning. I enjoy motivating other people. So that is within my zone of genius. So as a matter of fact, just published this week, my first book, my first Spanish book, Floreciendo otras tierras. So good questions to make to yourself to find your talents is what I love to do, what I do good, what I do that I think is fun to do, what passion me, what I am interested on, and what come out of me spontaneously. What is something that I do without even thinking about it. And a good example of that, in my case, is motivating others. I remember since I was probably in middle school, a lot of my friends used to gather around me asking for my opinion. And it was because there was something that automatically and spontaneously come out of me. I care about other people's problems. So it's something that I do very easy. I can relate to other people's problems and I can come out with good strategies and good ideas. What others say about me that I do good, like that example that I just told you. Think about what other people say about you that they said that you do good. that they praise you when they see you. They praise you when you do it. If someone give you money and time right now, if someone give you a lot of money and time, that you have all the time of the world to do this, what kind of business will you build? And there you can find your talent and what passion you. And these questions are not easy. So take your time to question this. Today you may find one answer and tomorrow you may redirect the answer into another area. So take your time answering those questions. I discover a new talent by looking of all what I like and what I was good and what it was giving me passion. So like I said, I like to motivate. I like to share ideas with others, and I want to have my own way to make another source of income as well. So I decide to write, because I usually write. I write journals. I have kinds of notebooks everywhere. You find a notebook that I write something. So when I put all that together, I said, you know what? This is a new talent that I can embrace, that I can use. And now I am writing, and I find people that help me out with that talent, because the reality, I didn't have all the techniques to write, right? If you read something that I write without any editing, you may get lost. But I found a good editor. I found a good team of people that helped me out with the book, and they helped me embrace that talent that I have. And that is our zone of genius. That thing that you like and enjoy doing it. And when we discover our zone of genius is when we are more productive, we are happy, and we feel complete. We honoring who we are and those gifts that God have given us that make us unique. When we do not honor our zone of genius, it's like when you give a child a very expensive gift. Let's suppose you have a child and you buy this gift to this child because you know that it's going to benefit him very much. You buy this gift, you wrap it very well, and you put it in, give it to him, and he put it in the corner of the closet and leave it there for years and years and never went to open it or use it. You will feel like, why he's not opening that box? Why he's not looking at what is inside there? Is a wonderful gift that is going to benefit him. So that's the same way that our inner self feels when we do not find or use our talents. Genius can show up as many ways as there are human beings, said Dr. Wayne Dyer. So we may have many different talents. We may have a lot of things that we are good on it in that zone of genius. You'd be surprised. You can be a good cook. You can be a good writer. You can be a good singer. You can have many talents. And when you use many of those talents and you stay in your zone of genius, is when you're going to be happier the majority of the time in this life experience. When we think in talents, we think sometimes that we have to be the best of it. And that is not necessarily the way that we can identify our talents, because we all have unique way of doing things. There are many singers out there, and they all sing in different ways, but they all have the talent to sing. So you may be good, but you don't have to be an expert, because expertise comes with preparation and practice. So if you find that you are good in something today and you don't think that you are an expert on it, that you're not very good, but this is something that passions you, you can just go ahead and embrace it and continue practicing and continue doing it. And then you will become that expert, because that passion that you have for it is going to help you to continue practicing and continue doing it. So to identify our zone of genius, we must identify our talents. And can you imagine how good, how wonderful will be that you will be making money in your zone of genius? That must be super fun and satisfying, because you are doing what you like, what you enjoy doing, but also you get paid for it. That's perfect. That's what we want. And you know that you are in your zone of genius when completing the objectives leave you energized. Like when you have goals based on that zone of genius, and it leave you energized, and it leave you that you always want to be better, and that you continue working on it because time flows so easy that you don't even notice how much time you spend. That's when you are in your zone of genius. So in simple words, it's a combination to your talents and your passion. This is your secret power that can make you successful professionally and personally. Sometimes the reason why we do not recognize our talents or son of genius is because we do not believe we deserve it. And because we do not know what our talents and what is our passion. We need to commit to discover in what we are good. Not the best, but that we are good and passionate about. In the book of The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and this is not a new book, I think it came out many years ago. Gay Hendricks began asking, what is holding you back? And this is because many of us sabotage ourselves. Sometimes we don't want to commit into look what is that we are good of and what it passion us, because sometimes we are embarrassed. We don't want to let no one else know. Sometimes because we think the others may say they have an opinion about it or they will not agree with it. In this case, a very good example will be our partner. Some people like to paint, but they don't even mention it because they're afraid that someone is going to criticize their paint and say, you are not good in that. So sometimes other people's opinions hold us back and looking for our son of genius. And that is the intention of this show. Always has been the intention of this show to help us find what is holding us back and now allowing us to our greatest potential to flourish. And like I always say in the beginning of the show, this is to help you bring your greatest potential. So sometimes the more successful also that you get, that's another reason why we hold back in looking for our talents. Because the more successful that you are, the more that you criticize yourself. When we have this person that is talking to us, that is saying, you're not good, you cannot do this, you're going to fail. So the imposter syndrome, that's the word that I was looking for, the imposter syndrome. Sometimes the more successful that we are, and studies have shown that the more successful that the person is, the most that imposter come out, start questioning what they're doing. But at the same way, the more successful that you are, the more urgent that the question is to find your son of genius, because you can be running around looking for the reason why you are not satisfied and wasting time in life, wasting time in doing the things that you like and that you are passionate for, instead of doing the things that you don't like. My discovery of my son of genius came after I get myself into a huge student loan. I did my master's in business, and I also did my doctorate in law school, because I understand that my son of genius I wanted to be an attorney because I enjoy politics, I enjoy law, I love justice, and I love to help others. So I thought I was going to be an attorney. I went to law school, and like I said, I get into this big student loan now. And at the end, I discovered that that's not really what I enjoy. I was getting very frustrated when, for example, I see cases that were very unfair, that maybe humans behave in a very irrational way, cases where I have to be arguing with other attorneys or in court. And that's not my natural me. That do not satisfy me. That do not make me happy. I do not find passion in arguing with people. So when I found that I was looking at being an attorney, but that's not really what I wanted to do, then that's when I start to discover, okay, let me look back and let me see what is that I really like to do. I do like to help others. I do like to find justice, and I do like to make everything be in peace. So how can I compromise? How can I look in that area, that knowledge that I obtained in law school, and use it for my son of genius, where I can find myself in that zone where I can use all the knowledge that I have, but also help others. And one pattern that Gay Hendricks talked about in the book of The Big Leap, he mentioned that we get into patterns every time the things going well, we begin to find problems. And I find that also in my experience. Every time that I was doing good in money, then I have family problems. Every time that I was doing good in relationship, then I have problems at work. And that is a pattern that I was noticing everywhere I look. And exactly that's what Gay Hendricks said. He explained in this book that humans will enjoy a period of peace and then plunge into a war. We create a time of economic expansion and then depression. And that pattern is not only with me, it's with everything around me. And I think, as he explained in the books, that this is because we become used to that roller coaster of emotions. So the question is how we can extend the feelings of happiness and contentment the majority of our days and the majority of our life, because that pattern seems to be all around our life, and we're not going to be able to avoid it in many occasions. But how can we extend the feeling of happiness in an everyday basis? And that is by being in our zone of genius, by doing the things that we like. So how we can do that? We have to ask these questions. We have to, number one, commit to look for those things that you enjoy and that you have passion about it. So find out, ask those questions. What are those things that I enjoy and that I have passion? But you have to commit yourself to look for those answers. Also, ask yourself if you are willing to increase the amount of time that you are feeling good in a day. Are you going to be looking for things and reasons to be happy on an everyday basis? And this is one of those things that will keep us, our vibration high, and keep us in the vortex of happiness. The number 3 question, it will be, are you willing to allow this for the rest of your life? And I'm talking about in all the aspects of your life, in relationship, in money, in health. Are you looking for the zone of genius in everything, in all the things that you do? So the point is where your talents and your passion and your interest, that is where the zone of genius is. In the second part of this show, we're going to talk about the feminine and masculine energies, understanding how to maintain that balance in those energies. That is another good way also to be in our zone of genius. So thank you for listening. And you can find more information about Firefly by Iris Janet by visiting the webpage at fireflybyIrisJanet.com. And also on social media, you can find me on Instagram at firefly_IJ. Thank you for listening, and emit your light and attract all your desires.